Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. We are so glad here to see all of you and excited of this fireside talk and roundtable on frontiers in energy transition and the development of new sustainable infrastructures. I'm delighted to have here, and we are delighted to have here among us Captain Saif Al-Mehiri, the CEO of Abu Dhabi Maritime and Chief Sustainability Officer at AD Ports Group. On my left hand, Mr. Francisco Carranza, who is the co-founder and CEO of Basquevolt, a company that is devoted to make possible the wider electrification of society. We are so delighted to have here too Andrej Bojic, Vice President of UNFCCC COP25 and member of the Bureau of the COP. So thank you so much for being here again. Let me start with the first question, an open question, and it's about the energy transition challenges. And I would like to address this question starting with Andrej. And I would like you to share with the audience that from your unique perspective, what do you see as the most pressing challenges in scaling sustainable infrastructures globally? And how do we balance environmental, technological, and economic considerations?
Thank you, Soraya. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my real great pleasure to have an opportunity to experience these amazing vibes of whole XPANSE community and to have opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. These days, we have heard so many amazing men and women who are talking about all challenges of our future. So I decided to be completely openly and honestly and to speak from my brain and my heart as all others did. So let me begin with one short story about honesty. As you know, these days, we have COP29 in Baku, and one of the last messages from the COP29 was that the small island countries has feeling abandoned. So 10 years ago, when I was in the term of head of cabinet of Minister of Environmental Protection in my country and the deputy of minister, we had official visit of president of the one small island states to our country, who wished to meet with us from the ministry in charge of climate change. We wondering why he wants to meet with us. But as usual, we prepared the best room in our 100-old years government building and waited for him. In the room came the man in perfect suit with some handmade ornaments on his neck. But also, with him in the room came an amazing energy. At first, he started crying. He looked around us and said, I will never forget that. He said, you know, in Europe, you had amazing and old buildings and amazing weather. But do you know that even today, when I'm standing in front of you, I'm losing a part of my country land because of climate change. My only mission on this planet is to save my country from catastrophe of climate change. And if you were wondering, that is the reason why I'm meeting you and why I am meeting with all others in charge of climate change all around the world. I realized that the only weapons in my hands are my voice and our tears. From that time, personally, I realized that we have to do something to connect all the most important things from global, national level with our citizens. All things from political level with things with financial levels. I realized that as a political scientist, I truly belong there. Even my colleagues from political sciences don't think the same. But if you know, they don't understand what we do even now. I have some support from one amazing book I have to mention that, which was written by Bill Gates about climate change. In that book, I found that in the future, world will need more scientists from the field in climate change who will capable to have multi-level and multi-sectoral approach. So I decided to speak completely honest about energy transition, and I will try that the main point of my all words today be exactly the honesty. The word is which is so needed in energy transition, and even more in our world today. Maybe the best example of honesty is this amazing country where we are now. Even though United Arab Emirates relies on huge reserves of fossil fuels, this amazing country invests a huge amount of money to new technologies and in new energy sources. Everything they did based on knowledge. And besides that, this country made some historical steps during the COP28 last year in Dubai. So we need to learn from honest experience of others. We have good examples of everything for good energy transition. We need more sustainable, fair, and just policies and financial and regulatory framework, which will brings down from global and national level to the local levels, closer to citizens and our companies and business.
Thank you very much, Andrej, for this hearty introduction to our roundtable, to our fire chat today. I'd like Francisco Carranza to give us his view on these pressing challenges we have to scale sustainable technologies more scalable and efficient. And from the work you are doing in your company, which are the novelties and what can you give to this new transition?
Well, thank you, Soraya. Thank you, Andrej. I think it was a very inspiring message. Overall, what I can tell you, everybody, I'm a car guy. I've been working in the electrification of mobility now for the last 15 years. And the reality today is, even if we have a strong push and message given by the society that we need to transition from fossil fuels to a more sustainable way of living, the technology that we have right now in our hands doesn't allow that, right? So we don't know how to do it, right? So we are capable through our knowledge about nature, our knowledge about technology to get to a certain level. But in order to properly deploy sustainable technology, and I'm talking about mobility because is what I'm from, but it applies in general to many other aspects. So we need to keep pushing what we know about materials, what we know about technology, in order to deploy this electrification. And just very simply, and it happens here like it happens in many other countries in the world, we still are in a situation in which the access to an electric car is not possible for the large majority of citizens, right? So simply because the cost is too expensive, right? So we don't know how to make a technology that is affordable for every citizens in the middle class. And in Europe, where I'm coming from, you still have many countries where the middle class doesn't have the purchasing power to afford an electric car. Even if the regulatory framework is pushing to electrify, we know that technically that's not possible, right? So that's what we do at Basquevolt. So before launching big plans or building factories here and there, like many other people are doing, first we need to understand and we need to have in our hands a technology that is going to be making possible full electric boats, full electric airplanes, full electric trucks, cars, at a price and a performance that the actual customers are willing to pay, right? So that's the reality. And many people have been discussing here all over the session that the transition to a more sustainable way of living need to be done in a way that you are generating value for the economy, you're generating jobs, you're generating profit for companies, and obviously we are in a situation in which governments has a key role to play to make that happen, but we need to do it in a smart way, right? So first of all, getting the technology right, and once we have the right technology, then push the accelerator and get it deployed all over the world.
Thank you very much, Francisco, for complementing this question. And you said you are from the car sector, or the company was originated in the car sector. And I would like to now address other sector. And here, I learned yesterday, I was in the boat show in Abu Dhabi, and I learned you have, if I remember well, 200 kilometers of coast, so that you have to manage here. And I would like to address a question to Captain Saif. AD Ports Group has launched various initiatives to promote sustainable maritime infrastructure recently. And I would like you to share with us the key examples and their impact on reducing environmental footprints. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here. Very honored. So AD Port Group started focused on sustainability and renewable energy since the beginning. Since the establishment of the flagship port, which is Khalifa Port in 2008, and complete construction in 2012. So the whole construction was basically focused on sustainability, because the location selected was next to a main coral reef and the marine reserve. So we had to be to construct the port in a way that it maintained the environment, as well as to establish this business, which is essential to the emirate. So from that time going forward, we had many initiatives. Latest one, which is the net zero building for one of our clients, CMA CGM in Khalifa Port, is fully run by renewable energy. We have a tugboat, which is electrical tugboat, on trial basis right now, and a number of other initiatives that we are doing in the shipping industry. As per the challenges my colleagues just shared, the same with the shipping industry is very hard to decarbonize because of the size and the weight. You cannot reduce a weight of the ship. You cannot. The size is huge. So going fully electrical is very hard with the current technology. In the future, but right now there is the alternative fuel, not renewable energy, alternative fuel like LNG, hydrogen, other, but also this one having the technology issues and the storage and the cost part.
Francisco, I think now is to you to reply and maybe to launch the vision Captain just gave it to us, and these alternative new technologies like targeting decarbonization. So which are the limits? Because we know, and we are talking a lot about electrification through lithium and so on, but we know also that these are scarce materials that are not going to save forever here in the planet, and the resources are limited. So how can we face, and which are the alternatives on this?
I think the way forward, somehow it is simple. It happens already many times in the human history. So we need to be more efficient in the way we do things. So we need to be able to store electricity in less material, right? So we need to be able to make batteries much smaller, much lighter, and much cheaper than what we have right now. So the reason why we don't have large boats like Capitan was saying, or electric airplanes being electric, is because simply batteries are too heavy and they are too bulky, right? So they take a lot of space, they take a lot of weight, and there is not enough capacity to power a boat for a long time, right? So that's the fight from the science point of view that we need to we need to have from the human point of view. And overall, depending on the type of application you have a different issue. From the car point of view, for example, is clearly the price, right? So people cannot afford to buy an electric car. It's too expensive. So the autonomy range can always be debated, but it's today we have cars that have a good one. Simply, they are too expensive. Our purpose as a company is to start pushing the humanity towards a much better understanding of what nature has given us in terms of materials, and make sure that we have a technology that store a way more electricity per kilo of material. So at the end, from one side, we improve sustainability because we are needing less metals from Earth, and we improve the electrification potential in all the applications.
Thank you. I think, yes, thank you very much for what you say. I think it's important, and it leads me to ask you, and how do you see, and this question is for the three of you, so I let you the floor, so the more brave of you, the braver to reply. And it's how do you see the tension between global decarbonization goals and the economic priorities of local industries, right? There is a tension between this globally, and how can, yes, deal with these economic priorities of local industries. And then how do you think, how can infrastructure projects scale globally while still remaining relevant to local needs, right? So.
Okay, maybe the youngest one, not the bravest one. No, I always used to say that climate change isn't the biggest challenge of 21st century, but the climate change is the biggest multiplier of all other challenges. And as in any other challenges, the most important achievement for any change is the will to change is the will to make the change happen. And we have that will to make the change in our energy transition. So from my perspective, the most valuable unit for success and fair and just energy transition is cities, our cities, actually. So cities have to rethink their infrastructure in the order to help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and make themselves more resistant to the harsh weather. In order to achieve that goal, we need more local climate action plans and more concrete plans for new infrastructure. And here we already have a good news. From the last COP 2028, the global methodology for infrastructure resilience review was launched in Dubai. That is the first holistic approach with all measures and stuffs which we have to take in direction of energy transition. And just let me to mention just one more question, one more sentence. That from the last COP28 resonates strongly with the new initiative of the president of the COP29 on multilateral actions pathways declaration for resilient and health cities. So I truly believe that we have solutions in our hands. We have knowledge, and we need just a better will to take that knowledge and to adopt it to our daily lives. And we can have succeed in our energy transition.
For the goals, I think as per the latest measurements, we already reached 1.5. So it is already, the goal is already doesn't make sense. So the language is used now is more about below 2. Okay, so they don't talk about 1.5 degrees as per Paris Agreement anymore. So initially the goal maybe was too ambitious. This is one thing. Second, maybe the countries, the industries were not ready for many things, including technology. Technology cost the will, and there is some other team who are arguing the climate change, who are still there. Um, Now, what we are going to do forward now it is already almost 25 years to go for 2050. We are already at 1.5. So what is the new goal? It's below 2. But realistically, it may be a little bit higher than 2. So what can we do now? What are the actions need to be done? I will fully agree, is awareness. We need to increase awareness. Although it will cost, it will be, to be efficient, it costs you some throughput. To invest in renewable energy and decarbonization initiative, it will cost you money. But if everybody look at the bigger picture, they will see this is a necessity for survival. Okay, it is not a nice to have, or greenwashing, having a nice report, or planting a plant, or cleaning a beach. No, it is for survival. It is not a nice to have. It is an important thing. So if the awareness initiatives increased and doubled more than it is now, everybody from the younger generation who are in school today, they will be decision makers in 25 years. So if from now they understand this, they feel that it is important, then all of these challenges will go. Technology is moving, but if there are no demand for technology, also that may not happen. So these are basically the basic problems between the set goals and the current industries.
Thank you very much. I absolutely agree with you all, and that this climate change should be moved at the top of the agenda. It should be at the highest level of our priorities, because it's a matter of survival. And how can we achieve this? Maybe, yes, as you were saying, the creating awareness, or maybe, I don't know, the solution is also changing the narrative on climate change and energy transition we are using up to now, because it seems that it's not working. We are all experiencing now catastrophic like floodings and so on all over the world, and it seems like after so many COPs and agreements and so on, we are not moving forward. So let's see if, like, creating this awareness in the younger generations, we can move to this field. So the person coordinating here is just make me a sign, like we have just 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So but I have, before we close, a question. In 1 year time, I hope that we are all going to meet here again at the XPANSE 2025 edition. And I bet you now to meet again, the 4 of us here. And I would like you to project you in this future. In 1 year, what do you think you will have achieved by then in terms of energy transition and sustainable infrastructures? And I will take note.
So on my side, I think part of the job we are doing is to make sure the different governments understand what's at stake. I think nobody's questioning anymore the impact of climate change in the planet. Now the point is how my territory, how my country, how my economy will benefit from that. Right? So you are reshuffling the cards again in the game, and some countries that were generating value for their economy by using technology based on fossil fuels, now they have to rethink how my country is going to generate GDP and jobs in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, right? So part of my job is to make sure that we get more and more countries engaged into this proper fight, first solving the technology challenge and then deploying that for the countries that have engaged properly into this economic value generation for their territory and their citizens.
Thank you very much, Francisco. What about you, Captain?
1 year from now, we will have many things done, inshallah, including a fleet of fully electrical taxis in Abu Dhabi, as well as we will be having more awareness our ESG. So I invite everybody to visit the boat show, which is next door. So in our stand at ID Maritime, we are introducing ESG platform. We call it Marsadna, which is short for Maritime Sustainability DNA. Basically supporting all small business, medium businesses in maritime industry in Abu Dhabi to measure themselves in terms of ESG based on the international standards, where they stand. And then once they answer all of these questionnaires in the platform, a report will come to them telling them what improvement they need to do. So based on that, we are in the last stage of finalizing the GDP contribution of the maritime sector in Abu Dhabi to the country. And from 1 year from now, we will redo the exercise and see how much it improved, especially in the renewable energy and the sustainability initiatives.
Thank you very much.
Okay, in 1 year from now, I will still fighting for more honesty in climate narrative, and I will try to convince my colleagues in my sciences that we need new division of all energy sources today. That I truly believe that the old division into fossil fuels and renewables has expired. And because of that, we are now in some kind of absurdities, as Captain has mentioned. We are talking about 1.5 goals, but is it true? We are about 2 degrees. So I will fight for honesty, and I hope that we will change our narrative in energy transition and in our climate actions. We have to have more honesty in communication between each other and in communication with public.
Thank you very much for this enriched panel. Soraya Hidalgo, Head of Strategic Partnerships at Technical University of Catalonia in Barcelona, Spain. My pleasure, and let's meet each other again 2025, hopefully here again in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.